Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus. But before we begin, if you guys could please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. So with that said, Cash, what are we reviewing today?
Today, well, first off, I got preference by. I may sound a little off today.
A little nasally?
I am battling just a bitch of a cold.
Yeah.
Just coming to get me. That's
what I've heard. Yeah.
It would suck if everything going on right now, I end up dying of the cold.
Out of all things.
I survived everything else. Nuclear war, famine, whatever else we got going on. But this cold is what kills me. Yeah. So I may sound a little off, but I'm getting over it, doing a little better. But the show must go on, Mason, as they say.
Absolutely.
In Hollywood. I hear that. I hear that's what they say.
I'm sure they say in Bollywood, too.
I'm
all
sure
the Hollywoods.
Anywhere there's a camera rolling, some guy in the back's going, show must go on, let's go.
The key grip, he's like, show must go on.
Like, why are you talking?
You're not important.
You're not supposed to be talking here. But yes, this is a film I'm so excited to do because we're a couple A24 shills here.
We are.
We've been called
quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've been called out, yeah, but we are.
But like I said this off the podcast, but I'll always be excited when an A24 film comes out.
Absolutely.
Until they start doing more than one bad film every year, then I'll stop being excited for them. But I have no reason not to be excited for them because if you are a film lover, then you should love A24 right now because it is doing the most original stories. It's not doing sequels. It's not doing reboots. Nope. It's all original stories, and they're always amazing. And all in different genres, too. Yeah.
Like, I mean, they can literally go to traditional Shakespearean language to X, which is a slasher film that...
to elevated horror.
Elevated. Yeah, the old elevated. That's what
this is what they're... Yes, but like you said, we were reviewing X today, the newest A24 film directed by Ty West, starring a lot of young actors and actresses, but great actors and actresses. Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Martin Henderson, Brittany Snow, Owen Campbell, and a name that you're probably familiar with, but not his real name, Scott Mescudi, which is, of course, Kid Cudi. He's fucking awesome in this, but... X tells a story of, it's a simple story too. Classic 1979, rock and roll playing in the van. Just a group of friends going out, making porno. Mm-hmm. Renting out a farmhouse. There's 6 people all together. Director, who's also dating Mia Goth, and they're renting out a farmhouse from a very, very old couple.
I would say in their late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, early hundreds. Mm-hmm. Very old, very decrepit. They're renting out a farmhouse, but they're not telling this couple that they're renting out this farmhouse for pornographic reasons.
Of course not.
It's
they're in the South. It's in the 70s, you know? You're not going to tell them we're making a porno out
It's
here.
in Texas, though, also.
Yes.
Which, if there's one group of people that are not going to like you making a porno out in their... out in their farm or their barn, it's going to be people in Texas.
Well, the old man had a problem with it right away, too, because he goes, I remember telling you could stay here, but everyone else...
I know.
He goes,
you didn't tell
slip you
5
another 20.
other people you're bringing? That's kind of a stretch.
Kind of weird.
One other person, maybe I don't even talk about it. I don't bring it up. Right. 3, okay. But you bring 5 more people?
Kind of rude. All this camera equipment here. Yeah. What's going on?
But, so that's it. That's the story.
It is.
Mia Goth's character is Maxine Minks, and she's out, and she just wants to be a star.
That's
the 70s.
Right off the bat, too.
In the 70s, you could star in porn and still become mainstream, and no one bats an eye.
Well, now you just become mainstream in a different way if you're a porn star. Now it's
hard
just
to make
social media.
It's hard to make the leap, though.
Stuff. It is hard, but some of them do it.
From porn to regular...
Oh, no, not to regular film, but I just mean they're stars in general. So
oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, for sure,
kind of stuff.
Back then, you could star in a porno and, like, go from a different name. Like, fucking Sylvester Stallone. His first film was a softcore porn and that he wrote and directed called The Italian Stallion. And...
Stallion, that's right.
Oh, and he went on to win an Oscar.
Good for him. Good for him. What a life.
It's a rags to riches story that we can all get behind.
We can all appreciate a good story.
I can't wait to see his biography, his biopic film.
Oh, it would
starts
be
out
fun.
with him doing the porno, and then big time.
I gotta see that vintage footage. I gotta see the old Italian stallion. See
Oh,
what he's
it's
working
out there.
with.
I don't think it ever shows his dick.
No, it's softcore.
I don't think it ever shows his dick, but it's. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say it's well written, but it's out there for sure. But yeah, I was super excited about this film because everyone was talking about how it's not quite elevated horror, but it's A24's first slasher film. That's what the press was saying.
Yep.
But it is so much more than just a slasher film, though.
It is. It's beautifully shot.
It is amazing. The story is amazing. The writing's amazing. How it's shot. It's
The
like,
score was awesome too.
The score is
super
fantastic.
creepy.
Yeah, it's
Creepy as hell.
it is. Yeah, like I said, it's just more than a slasher film. It is the smartest slasher film you will ever go and see. Or it's like the slasher films, or the first slasher films starting out of franchises, which are always so much better written, and then the second one are always just cash grabs,
Awful,
and
yeah.
the next 8 of them are just cash grabs. But this one, man, it just keeps you guessing. It's the story is simple.
Super simple.
There's not a supernatural element.
That's what I was going to bring up. That is something I
kept
expected.
waiting for it exactly because you never see, because we're so used to slashers in our mind that there always is a supernatural element.
Yep.
You can't kill these things coming after you. Not at all in this one.
Not the case.
I was
And I
waiting.
loved it. I loved
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And not to spoil the ending right away. I mean, this is spoiler review, but that was my favorite ending for a slasher film, period, because it was realistic.
Yes.
You know, you got a frail 97-year-old woman
and
holding a
hilarious.
double-barrel shotgun. Oh, yeah. That was another
I laughed
aspect where the
so-
theater laughed out loud.
Yeah, and this film is very, I don't say it lightly, it's fucking scary. It is
for sure.
scary, but it also fucking funny. Very funny. There's some hilarious parts. But man, it's just Ty West just fucking kills it. Like, this is the film. He's done a lot of horror films, but this is like the film he's been waiting for to do. Because this is just, it's, like I said, it's one of the best horror films I've seen in a decade.
Well, then, I have some very good news for you, Cash. There is a prequel already filmed.
Of course, this was breaking news a couple days ago because this film, I think, premiered at is it South by Southwest. I can't remember, but this film just had its premiere at South by Southwest, or one of the film festivals. And Ty West opened up. He said during they shot this whole thing in New Zealand, and you have to go on quarantine for 2 weeks in New Zealand because they didn't have any COVID cases at all. He said during that 2 weeks, he wrote and shot a prequel without anyone knowing.
That's so crazy.
Which is it's something you don't see happen very often anymore.
No.
Where it's kind of like, in the old days, you could kind of get away with that if no one's paying attention. But now it's like the billing and everything.
impossible
Yeah,
too,
how do you not? You need so many people on sets these days that it's really, really hard to do anything in secretive. But he shot an entire prequel film. And if you didn't know this, I didn't know until after. I had a strange feeling. But Mia Goth plays Maxine and also plays the main antagonist, Pearl, in some of the best old age makeup I've ever seen.
Absolutely. It looked good. There were moments where I could tell it was someone younger, but it was like I had to like really look. But it was only the close-ups of her face.
Because
it's
people
impossible.
can't look that bad and still be walking around and acting shit.
Right.
So what I thought they did is I thought they got an older actress and just put her in makeup to make her look even older.
Older, yeah.
Because you're right, you could tell like this person is too fucking old. Like, and that's the whole thing that's scary about it is her skin's damn near see-through. Yeah. She looks like she could her skin's like melting off her bone. She's that old. Yeah. But I had no idea until I went and looked at it. I'm like, I have to look up who that is. And it was Mia Goth, she's a great actress. She is very unique looking.
Yeah, and, she is.
She never can play just a straight up role. She always has to play something weird, but she kills it. And she will be in the prequel, of course, Pearl.
Which I'm very excited for. But the prequel will obviously be around Pearl and her husband.
World War I era.
Oh, really?
It's thinking he'll be gone and she'll just be there.
Oh, God.
Apparently it's supposed to show what happened to her and how she became what she is.
And you know what was so good about the slasher film, too, is it wasn't just like your stereotypical, Jason or, Texas Chainsaw Massacre where you couldn't understand or sympathize with the character at all. There were some moments with Pearl as like the older woman and her just wanting to be loved and accepted from her husband, where you actually sympathize with her a little bit. But then you have this weird contrast where she's stabbing people in the neck and killing them. And
I went away
crazy.
I thought the exact same thing was like bare bones of it. You take away all the killing and everything. It is just a very sad love story.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's disgusting to think about, but it is. That's all it is. I mean, it's not disgusting. It's just disgusting if you see the people.
Yeah, right. Doing it. Yeah. I mean, you know.
But I mean, it's a really real story about a very old couple who can literally no longer make love to each other and have clearly have fallen out of love anyways. You know,
for sure.
You're with someone for 60 years.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
Not
new topics to talk about.
No. Especially when you have TV and you're watching one channel. That was a good twist at the end, too.
I love the overlaying because this movie has so many fucking layers with it being in the 70s and like this sexual revolution and it being this stark contrast of these old people that were around, you know, in the early 1900s and...
Where they would get married at 15, 16 in the early 1910s and 20s.
But we're never as open to this with their bodies or anything. And now they're in a time where they want to be more open with their bodies, but they're too old to do it. So it's this thing where you could see why these old people are angry at these young people for being jealous and bitter of something that they no longer have and being so open with it when they lived in a time when everything had to be said. You didn't talk about sex.
No,
at all during that time.
Well,
sure as hell didn't talk about porn.
And also jealous on the aspect of not being able to live that life, too, because they're too old now. And having that resentment towards younger generation.
Then it works off the fear of young people with old people, too, and old people kind of being like the mirror future of ourselves. I think that's what scares us about old people, you know, not the decrepitness, but then be like, oh, someday this will be us. And that's not a lot of people do play with that fear in films. For some reason, it's kind of a subject that, I mean, if you do see an old lady in film, she's in it for like 2 scenes and it's like one really shocking scene. This one, man, it's just when you see Pearl, even when she's not killing people, you are scared. She's so fucking like that scene when they're doing it in the barn and like the camera slowly and she's in the window.
It's like, oh my God, so creepy. There's something about that that's just creepy as hell. Kids and old people.
Yes,
just
I know.
Creepy.
I'm right there with you, man. And like old people, it's like, and the kids and old people are the same way. You can't keep track of them.
No, they're everywhere. They'll pop up in random places.
Yeah, and then they're back in their rooms.
Yeah.
Like, are these guys teleporting? You can't keep track of those bastards. But, the story, all the characters, like you said, again, weren't like slasher films where like, oh, you're just waiting for these people to die. I enjoyed every single one of these characters.
Yeah,
I did not, even the guy that was so clearly like Wayne Gilroy, like this character you could have fucking hated for sure. And if this was in the early teens, Matthew McConaughey would have played this role 100%.
You talking about the cameraman?
No,
the long hair?
The producer.
Oh, the cowboy man.
Yeah, that would have been played by Matthew McConaughey for sure, right when he's starting out.
That act, what's the name of that guy?
Martin Henderson.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Even him with like that at the start, I'm like, oh, this is the guy you're supposed to hate. Not at all.
Yeah.
He's just a well-rounded. He wanted to make money. He's done a lot of shit to try to make money. He feels like he's kind of at the end. He's older than a lot of these people, and he's doing like one more try to make it big. But he wasn't like an asshole where he was just like using these kids to, you know, advance himself. Mm-hmm. He was friends with all these people.
Yeah, he was.
He really, and he was dating.
And having sex with all of them, too.
Of course.
Well, I mean, God, if you're shooting a porn, why not just
executive
switch it all up
producer
a little bit?
of the porn? Yeah. But exactly. And he was dating Maxine Minx, which is Mia Goth's character, but like really liked her.
Yeah.
And left his wife for her. Like there's all these little tiny hints that like this guy, you know, a sleaze, but still not someone you want to see get murdered.
Right.
Unfortunately. Well, fortunately we do. Because all the deaths of any good slasher, you got to rank it by the deaths. And these are good deaths.
They're awesome deaths.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the first death, though.
One death, yeah, and all the deaths are always they're different. As in any good slasher film, you can never, two people cannot die the same way.
Yeah. But this first one, obviously, the camera guy, he's pissed off because Jenna Ortega's character, Lorraine, wants to be in the porn. Obviously, he likes her, you know, has a relationship, some sort of a relationship, either that platonic or not.
Oh, they're dating. She's the one, so him and her, they're They're the behind the scenes. He's the director / cameraman, and she's the sound.
the audio girl.
Yeah, audio girl, exactly like that. But
But
you said, he goes out to his van because he's leaving because
he's mad. He says, fuck this. I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm leaving. And he gets in the van, and the old woman's standing there, Pearl, just all decrepit. And he gets out of his van, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. And, dude, this scene was hilarious. And this is, again, where they use comedy.
Well shot, too.
Comedy, where I'm like, oh, this is funny.
And then it turns, yeah.
Oh, my fucking God. This is one of the most gruesome deaths I've ever seen in film in my life. And then, dude, like, I felt like
that whole scene is so well done, though.
It's one of the best murders, legitimately, I've ever seen.
When the blood is spraying and coating the lights red, so it turns, probably wouldn't happen in real life. Probably would just darken the lights. But they turn the lights from filming standpoint to a red filter.
And she's dancing to Blue Oyster Cult.
Yes.
Seasons Don't Fear the Reaper. And it's just like,
it's great. It switches from Blue Oyster to like a classical song because she hints at earlier on that she was a dancer, classical dancer. So in her own mind, it switches. And this is the part where I'm like, maybe it'll become supernatural. Maybe she'll start getting younger or something.
That's what I thought too, because she was like, when she touched Mia Goth, she was like, thank you, don't tell anyone. And I'm thinking, okay, here's
But it was only because she was feeling younger. Again, she wasn't actually
like
going back in time. Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought for
their
sure.
youth. I'm so glad they didn't go that route.
Same.
There probably is a way you could do that and do it in a good way, but it was just not that kind of film.
No.
But yeah, that whole scene, and then you go back, because it doesn't show the finished product of that guy getting murdered. They go back to it, his head completely off, because she stabs his neck.
And neck so many times. And they show like 7 stabs.
Well,
she just like keeps
spraying. She's getting drenched in blood.
Bro. That was like unnerving.
Yeah.
How intense that kill scene was.
We got to talk about this a little bit because it is A24-esque, and there was a lot of build up until you got that first kill.
For sure.
Probably halfway through the movie. But man, the suspense and everything of building up, like any good horror film. Not usually a slasher film. Slasher films just usually get you in there. Exactly. Yeah. But this one, that's what was the perfect combination of this being A24 and like a Ty West film. Is like there was so much build up to that first kill.
I enjoyed that build up all the way through. I was having a good time just hanging out in the living room with these people.
Because 1979, it's such a cool time. Yeah. And like, again, it's like this revolution of people being more open with their bodies and whatnot. And they really call that out because most slasher films, it's like people have sex and they're killed and they're being punished for having sex. Yeah. They're being punished for smoking weed. This film really flips it on their head, especially with Jenna Ortega's character being kind of that kind of MPA, kind of like, well, aren't you going to feel bad about this? When people see, and they totally flip it on their head and be like, no, this is just us being more open. We're doing exactly the same thing that everyone's doing, but they have this great scene where they flip it on their head and call out like all these other slasher films for being like, for punishing kids for having sex and whatnot.
Right.
And that's kind of the scene when Jenna Ortega was like, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm ready to get railed on camera. And give me Kid Cudi, because I've seen what he's working with.
Yeah,
let me tell you, if that's your first scene, you might want to move up to Kid Cudi.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to.
Jackson Hole. Yeah, you might want to start a little slow. That's going 0 to 100.
It is quick.
But I just love that scene when they're all sitting around, and then it goes into, right before everything kicks off, before the murders and everything, they have that big open talk about sex and about the revolution and everything. And then they sing an amazing acoustic version of Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, yes. Yeah.
Which was such an awesome fucking scene. Yeah, Kid Cudi on the Cudi on the guitar, Brittany Snow singing.
Yep. And it sounded really good, too.
Oh, because Brittany Snow is an amazing, she's an amazing singer, but yeah. And the whole song is about time changing too, and it's
Changes of the Wind or something like that.
Yeah,
the song, whatever.
I think it's not Changes, but
or something of a.
But anyways, it's a perfect song to have in that scene too. But yeah, it was awesome, and it was Landslide.
Was it?
It was
Landslide. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great song, very 1970s song to have, but it was perfect for that scene and just a perfect calming and be like, yeah, this is a really good, you want to stay here with these people.
Yeah. And that was kind of the...
Then 5 minutes later, it's like you don't want to be here anymore.
You know what else?
Great. The buildup is so good.
It's so good. But even before any of the murders, again, Mia Goss, so Maxine, goes down to the dock.
We get
and I love this scene.
Chekhov's gator. That's because you see a gator early on and we know that gator's got to come back.
Well, and I swear, before any of that happened, when she started, like...
That scene was well done, too. The crane shot.
Yeah.
Up above.
And the build-up for it and not knowing if she was going to make it or not. It was... But, I knew right away. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's Texas. Do not get into that water. There is definitely gators
She's got to know that. She's from Texas.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
But I love the buildup because, like, it was tense as hell because it's just such a slow swim all the way to the dock and the gator's just catching up to her. And then she stops when she gets up. And I go, for sure, she's dead. And I love that because she got up.
I was worried that maybe that it was going to be that kind of thing where they really, like, because in all the trailers, Mia Goth is in, like, every part of the trailer. So I'm like, maybe they're going to kill her off early and be, like, a thing where she's not the main character at all. Mm-hmm. Luckily, they didn't. She's not involved till a little later on, only because she's sleeping through most of it.
She is.
Which I love because it just, exactly. It's an uncomplicated way of not having to introduce that character until you're ready to introduce her, you know, not forcing her in. But yeah, that was great. There's a lot of foreshadowing of, I think, everyone's death they talk about. Wayne talks about how people's eyes are going to poke out when they see it.
Yep.
His eyes get poked out.
Pretty. And then
which is another great scene, man. That scene was, the eye poking, of course, was really good.
Yeah.
But her coming back around to the barn and just slowly sticking, like she's just, again, like childlike. Yeah. Like playing with these bodies, like she's not sure what's going on.
But the imagery, okay, so the first murder, we get the red and she's dancing, and it's like, for lack of a better term, very satanic, like evil imagery. And then in the barn, she's got the pitchfork, right? Like the traditional devil, and you see the shadow up on the wall, and it looks like the devil's walking with the pitchfork. And then, to stab him, it's just like the imagery was so cool.
Very slow stab, I know.
Yeah. It's very artsy.
And then the slow of just putting the hay over the body. I mean, like half-assing. I mean, like, who's she doing that for?
I don't know.
But just like the whole thing is like, again, it wasn't like she was possessed or anything. Just like she was like kind of stuck in these motions or whatever that she had to do. But, because it gets it dives deeper and deeper into like, it doesn't really just spell it out, but you start realizing like, oh, they've been terrorizing young people for
a while now.
Oh, and why? Why have they been doing this?
Right.
Was it ever since the old guy couldn't start fucking anymore because it was hard? Did they start like picking up the momentum that way?
Well, and that's what I'm thinking. So here's my theory on the case for the prequel and how I think it's going to lay out. I do think you're right. I think he becomes impotent, and then they have younger people come and have sex with his wife.
Well, it's not. He doesn't. He's not impotent. He just his heart.
Yeah.
Which was another was foreshadowing. Exactly. Yeah.
Which I saw that coming when he kept saying, "Oh, my heart can't."
But what I loved about it is
he's gonna have a heart attack.
But you didn't know when, though.
Right.
They plant that seed very early on, and there's a moment where you think it's gonna happen when they're fucking. You think he's just gonna give out right there. And then they added in like almost at the very end, very nonchalant, but it's perfectly placed to where it's like it's still
like
kind of surprised you.
Yeah, it's like a low key heart attack.
You had no idea it was going to come then. Yeah. You had no idea that she was going to gargle back up and give him a heart attack, but perfectly placed because you knew it was going to happen at some point. Yeah.
Well, we got to talk. We got to talk about Kid Cudi's death.
Well, that's another foreshadowing. Is Kid Cudi talked about very early on how he did 2 tours of Vietnam, how farmers always pulled guns on him.
Yep.
That's ended up what happened.
And it did. He got one right to the chest. Yeah, and you're not going to walk that one off.
No, unfortunately.
Not a double barrel
shotgun.
He got
blown.
Yeah, he got blasted.
Oh, way too. Another thing they talk about, there's a ton of influences for this film, but they bring up Psycho in the film, but then we also get like the sunken car inside the pond and whatnot, which is a Psycho thing for sure, which we end up finding out was the younger guy that came here before looking for a house that was still locked away in the bottom of the...
That's rough.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just a lot of foreshadowing, which is just, it was a lot of good writing for sure.
Yeah.
But there was foreshadowing of pretty much everyone's death, I think.
Yeah, there was. We got to talk about poor Brittany Snow's character, Bobby Lynn.
And let me tell you, Brittany Snow, stole the show for me. Her Southern accent, she's the most likable character, and she just killed it in this fucking role.
And again, funny moments too. I mean, with the old lady, she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" You
Yeah.
know, puts being like very caring for this old woman who's naked out in the middle of the night, out on the dock.
Oh, and that slaps that she gets though.
I know.
Hard, but to go back, even the scene when she gets the wrong cigarettes, and she's like, "I only smoke menthols or whatever." She's like, "I'm calling my agent." She had a ton of good scenes where you really fucking liked her, and she killed it. And I'm sure a lot of people said this, but a beautiful lady Brittany Snow is.
Yeah, I would have to agree with
A
that.
beautiful gal.
She's a beautiful woman.
Sure. And very talented, can act and fucking sing.
Yeah.
Which is great because they took advantage. Ty West was smart enough to take advantage of both those things because she does sing eventually. But loved her death, man. Did not think it was going to be
As brutal.
I did not think they were going to just like show. I thought it'd be like
they showed it.
Sinking her under water or something.
No, they showed the death roll and everything.
90s prosthetic gator they just threw over her head, and that roll was perfect.
Yeah, those death rolls are wild too. They'll rip your head right off.
Of course.
That's what happened. You saw it float.
So
Like, jeez. That is not a good way to go.
Just waiting for fucking
he was.
people to fall in there. Yeah.
And then it made me wonder how many, because that gator's huge, right? In this like pond ass thing. How many people have they fed them over the years?
Has to be a ton.
At least a few.
The gator seemed trained.
Yeah, he seemed to know.
So I have to say he's only eating human at this point, you know. If he sees a person and immediately goes for it, it's got to be.
Well, and didn't the old man say something like, "We got to get that gator out"?
Well, that was his excuse for having the shotgun.
Yeah.
They're like, "What's with the gun?" He's like, "We found gators by the pond." Of course, he knew there's gators by the pond, but and of course, he just wanted to shoot Kid Cudi at some point.
And again, it was good too because like when Kid Cudi went down to the barrel and was going through the water, I go, okay, for sure, Gator's gonna get him. Gator didn't get him. Ended up getting.
That was a good scene too. Once a Marine, always a Marine. And that guy, you could tell. Just there's so much like backstory to these old people that we only get a little tiny bit of, and we only get like expose of like pictures and stuff. Exactly. Like this guy, he served in World War I and World War II. Yeah. He has seen some fucking shit. They talk about him being on like Okinawa and stuff. Like, oh my god,
to be able to survive not just one World War I, which we watched, that documentary. Then They Were Young.
Yeah, it was one of the. It's the war. It's such a horrible war.
God,
both of those
in the
are
trenches,
horrible wars.
Just horrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could see how that guy could come back
and be a little
being a
messed
shell
up.
of a man.
Yeah, you could say that.
But yeah, that scene, it was like he was almost possessed. He's like, once a Marine, always a Marine. I just felt like he was getting PTSD flashbacks. Yeah. But Kid Cudi, we have to talk about that. Maybe the funniest scene in the film.
When the old man comes out to look for his wife.
I've never seen a heartier laugh at a theater for a dong shadow in my life.
For sure.
And I've seen quite a few of them, but this one. Because the whole time they're talking about how fucking Jackson Hole, played by Kid Cudi, is huge.
He's huge.
He's huge the whole time.
Huge.
But man, you can't even imagine.
No. This thing's past his knee.
This is a third leg. You could use it as a tripod if you wanted.
Could.
But the scene where because only one person has died, the old man comes to the separate farmhouse to look for his wife. And what sucks is Kid Cudi's character is so very nice.
He's a great guy, obviously. He was like, yeah, I'll go out and look for your wife.
Yeah, you really feel bad, especially with his death. You feel bad. Like, this guy survived 2 tours in Vietnam.
To be killed by an old guy.
By just some old shit.
He's got PTSD.
That he was helping find his old wife.
His wife.
Exactly.
That was a feeling I had, too. Like, I was like, really? Fuck.
He
could have been the final guy instead of the final girl.
I wanted to see Kid Cudi just beat the living hell out of that old man.
It would have been great. It would have been nice.
I wanted to see him get his fucking third leg in there involved somehow.
Smacking him with it.
That thing, you like that? Get concussed quick.
Oh, absolutely.
So
There's
he was
some weight behind that.
Oh my god, you can see it was a baby. It was like a baby's arm holding an apple. But so yeah, the old man goes to the farm, and Kid Cudi, of course, he's completely naked, just standing in the doorway. Will shot. He's like, "Yeah, let me get my." And he's naked, but the camera work and the editing is perfect because it zooms out for 1 second. Because the old man, you can tell, he's like looking down at the ground.
Yeah, he's like,
what's the reason he's not looking? And then it zooms out, and it's just showing fucking Kid Cudi in his. a 1.5 feet of dick.
Yeah. This is a $5 foot long. I'm telling you.
It is. My God, It's 12, and you're thinking, how the hell did any of these women take any of this? But
Practice makes perfect.
For
it
sure.
does. If you love your job, you will go to extreme lengths.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And not even that, but I thought it was hilarious that after all that, they showed the dick and everything. Brittany Snows talked about how she was still faking the organ.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like faking it on the bed.
Yeah, this guy's got 1.5 feet of dick.
I don't know what else.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I am in trouble.
I would say the whole world. No one's gonna be able to please that woman.
But yeah, his death was perfect. Brutal death with just how quick it was with the shotgun.
Yeah,
it was brutal. But we get another shotgun blast.
We do,
which is great. I knew that was going to come at some point too. Because at some point, Jenna Ortega's character gets locked away in a basement. They're going to torture her like they tortured the guy that came before them.
Right.
And, but she gets, Mia Goth's character unlocks her out of the basement, but she starts screaming immediately.
Of course.
I told you, and I knew every corner she turned, I was waiting for that shotgun blast. I just fucking knew that it was going to come.
Well, and then she's like getting mad at me. Like, I should have never come here. Never should have been with you guys. Blah,
Let's
blah,
talk
blah.
about that later.
Like, relax. Like,
we will talk about this down the road.
Yeah. But she was just, she was panicked and
then
irate.
Just
blown away.
A few good jump scares too. That I mean, for scenes that you kind of knew was coming.
Yep.
But there's a few good ones, especially when Mika's character goes up to the farmhouse and has lemonade with the lady before we figure out. It's a very horrifying scene, a very slowly intense scene.
And the editing, too, going back and forth.
Yeah.
And then just showing little slivers of something else, like just for like a split second.
Yeah, they do a lot of that, too, where someone would be murdering and it would go back and forth. Every once in a while, it would be the preacher. Yep. It would go like there'd be murder and then it'd be the preacher that's on just 24/7. This guy does not go home.
No.
I don't know.
It's just the same sermon over and over and over again.
That was so fucked. That whole thing was so eerie and scary to me too. Of like this preacher just like 24/7. There's like 8 people in the congregation listening to him. It's not a packed house. Why are they recording it? But it's just constantly being looped on this one of 3 Texas stations that they have. Something eerie to me about that.
Yeah.
And of course, he was talking about sex the whole time, and he took a picture down of his daughter. That I don't know, was it supposed to be Mia Goth?
Yeah, no, it was. It was Pearl. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's
Pearl.
what I meant.
But yeah, I guess that is Pearl. Yeah, but
I hope in the prequel they get into that because that's gonna be right around that time. So I hope that passed her because I think the prequel is gonna be much different. Than this. I think it's going to be more of an elevated horror, perhaps just seeing what she goes through. But yeah, the camera work was amazing in this.
It was.
Cinematography, you don't get that out of slasher films.
My favorite shots were the scenic shots, the long shots that would then go into a zoom or the zoom, like the car driving up the hill.
Yeah.
It'd be zoomed in and then zoom out as the camera's moving, and it would just perfectly place with the 2 houses, and I was just like, the camera work was awesome.
It was definitely, and I saw because Ty West did a big interview at South by Southwest, and he was like, he wanted to make a film about filmmaking because this film, it is a slasher, but it is a lot about filmmaking. I mean, it's a film about filmmaking without having to be in a studio or anything. It's like just looking in at an independent film, which is really what he wanted to do, and that's what it is. But it is like a love letter to filmmaking. You get a lot, and of course, a love letter to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is great because we just watched it.
Yeah, we did.
But at times, with that camera work, like the camera would get kind of grainy and make it look like you were watching it on like a 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
Like it would get real grainy, but not to the point where it would take away from the film, but it would just to give you that point. But the shots of, like you said, of like looking at the window and everything are really well done. And how the murder scenes are shot are not just straight up shot like you would think. That it's a unique way of doing it where they're spinning the camera a lot and giving us angles that you normally wouldn't get. And staying on a murder a lot longer than maybe you should get.
Than you're comfortable with in some situations.
Let me tell you, there's a lot of sex, a lot of death in this film. It really does feel like you're watching a horror film from that late 70s, early 80s era.
Sure.
But maybe the grossest sex scene in a film I've seen in a long long fucking time.
You know, they were in love.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
Put it behind closed doors.
Do that shit on your free time, not when a camera's
No,
on.
but that definitely was to the point of like, you know, they're opening up.
Yeah.
You know, they're having sex and having sex in places that they're not normally having sex either. But God, does it last too long and does it show too much?
Shows a lot.
I've seen enough wrinkly old ass for a
For a
lifetime.
Yeah, one and done.
Seen that guy pump away? Oh my God. I was hoping she was going to run out and grab the shotgun and blast those fuckers. But no. She's hiding under the bed and it's like the pumping is within inches of her face.
God, she's got to be brutal, dude. It's got to be just so bad. I also love the scene, Jenna Ortega's character, Lorraine, when she's locked in and he smashes her fingers. And her fingers are like sideways.
That was brutal.
Everything, man.
That was fucking. It was, what was it? The butt of the gun or something?
Mm-hmm. He just broke her fingers.
That was
just straight up
fucking
panicking.
Yeah. One part I was angry about was like, why the hell door handle? She cuts the door from the farthest side. Mm-hmm. Why not go the panel closest?
Right.
So that way,
door handle.
It was just so she had to do like the kind of thing where like, I can't reach, I'm so close. And then he comes in and just fucking smashes her fingers. Which is what she gets.
Oh yeah, don't be stupid. I mean, use common sense. You gotta move over to the door handle.
It just makes sense. It's gonna make things a lot easier for her. But that and the final death was fitting and funny.
Funny as hell. I loved it because it's so realistic. Yeah. You get a frail 96-year-old woman shooting a double-barrel shotgun.
Well, and the old guy who just died of a heart attack that he was talking about the entire fucking time.
Yep.
He did get one last pump in, which is nice.
Good for him. Happy
for him.
The happy
you
couple.
gotta admit, he probably died the happiest he's ever been.
Yep.
Right? He's killing all these people. Just got a good lay-in. But he dies. He drops a shotgun. Out. Pearl grabs it. And thank God, because my immediate thought was, this 70-pound woman, it's a double barrel.
A powerful shotgun.
Yeah, powerful shotgun. Thank God, man. The writing was so good, but she tries to shoot and she gets blown back 15 feet.
At least.
Right.
Out to the gravel.
My hip. Oh God, I shattered my hip.
She's like crawling, can barely move. And she's still talking shit too. Oh, I mean, hell. This girl,
tough gal, man.
Yeah. Hey, you don't grow up during World War I and II and not be a tough.
Well, not run the farm on your own.
Yeah. It's a hard life.
It's a hard life,
but yeah, she's still talking shit, and she goes, "You'll never be as good as me. You'll never make
special.
it." Yeah, you'll never be special.
The whole thing was about being special.
Because Maxine always wanted to be special. She wanted to be a star.
And Pearl too said, because at one point she asked the old guy, "Am I special?" And he goes, till the day, now let's get fucking, and they get into it. But
well, because she wanted to be like a professional dancer, an actor, or whatever.
Yeah, and she's old. She just wanted to feel special one more time.
Yeah.
You know? And she did.
She did. Boy, oh boy, because Maxine puts that truck in reverse and...
A great
way to go
I've seen a lot of them over the years with film, and this was one of the better ones for sure. Because it was a good combination of practical and CGI. Mm-hmm. It was a lot better than the Studio 666.
Yeah, for sure.
Which they went all practical, and they only had one dummy clearly. So
and then the head like exploded.
And they had to be like, we only have one. We got to keep that.
That's the take we're going to use.
This one had a good one. Her head exploded.
It did, and then she ran back over it.
Yeah.
And then like that close-up of like all the brain matter and stuff she runs over.
Very good.
Yeah.
And another foreshadowing, too, because we got them running over the dead cow at the very start.
Oh, that's right.
We got the same shot of the wheels going through the blood.
Yep.
Then we get that shot again of the wheels going through the blood, but this time
it's human.
Pearl's old ass.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But she was bound to go.
Yeah, she won't be coming back either.
No, I don't think so. I mean, in the prequel, but...
And we got to talk about that a little bit because there's an A24 doesn't have any franchises. They've never done a franchise. So this will be the first franchise, which is pretty crazy to think about. They don't even do... A24 doesn't do sequels. Yeah. They don't do any... I mean, that'd be a franchise, I guess, but
I'm for it. Like, I'm excited for the prequel.
They found the right one.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a franchise, this is the good one.
And thank God we get a really just well-made slasher film. How hard is that to do? And apparently it's hard to do in Hollywood because you don't see it ever. And, like, this was This was one of my favorite films this year.
We've gotten kind of lucky with the new Halloween, but that's the only slasher film of recent that I can think of.
Yeah, the first one, not the second one. I wasn't a huge fan of the second one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. Well, the first one didn't come out that long ago.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, no, you don't. The day of the slasher film is definitely behind us, but this is a great Psycho Gorman. I guess you could almost
Psycho
say
Gorman's fun.
you could almost say it's a slasher film.
I guess so, a comedy slasher.
But yeah, man, this is great. I think it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be a weird one where I think people going big slasher fans that are going just to see a lot of blood might be disappointed in this because it goes on a little bit of different rhythm. But overall, just a really fucking good film.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I knew I was gonna enjoy it, but I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah, this has given me a lot. I've said it before, but 2022, this has given me a lot of hope for the year already. Yeah. We've already gotten 2 amazing films. I mean, with X and the Batman. And X might be, like I said, it's going to be my top 10. It may be my favorite film of the year.
Yeah.
It was so damn good.
It was.
I can't wait to watch it again.
I definitely will revisit this.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe during Halloween time or something. Be perfect. That's all I got, though. I would highly recommend it. It's only in theaters, but go out and see it. It's so fucking worth it. It's so worth it.
Go watch it with people, too. It'd be a lot of fun. You get some laughs, you get some kills, you get some scares. Like, it is a great time. Shout out to Ty West and A24. Another great film.
Killing it.
Absolutely killing it. All right. Well, Cash, last question. Obviously, you would recommend?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, go out and see it. Go see it on a Friday or Saturday night. That's the time to see slasher films with a big crowd.
With a big, audience.
Because I'm telling you, that laugh that you're going to get when you see Kid Cudi's dick, it was fucking funny, dude. It was pretty great. I loved it.
Alrighty, well, that is our review for X. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notifications. We drop videos here every single day. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.